And so the National Hockey League 1970-71 season opened Friday, October 9th in Vancouver, with the Los Angeles Kings providing the opposition. And there to broadcast the game was the CBC coast to coast, with the very first game broadcast on the CBC that did not involve the Maple Leafs or Canadiens as the home team. And this was a pretty big deal to Canadians across the country. It was such a big deal to the CBC that Danny Gallivan was brought in to do the play-by-play.
Tonight's the night the Vancouver Canucks play their first NHL game, meeting the Los Angeles Kings here at the Coliseum. Coach Hal Lako talks about it in a moment.
Good evening, everybody. This is Al Davidson with Danny Gallivan and Jim Robson, welcoming you to the National Hockey League and its play in the city of Vancouver. And Danny Gallivan has been around hockey for many a year, Danny. But this is a first for you. It has to be, with another Canadian city entering the National Hockey League.
Al, this is what has to be termed, of course, to use a bit of a cliche term, a historic moment here in Vancouver, because, as you say, this is the first game for the Vancouver Canucks here in the National Hockey League. And these two teams here tonight, Los Angeles and Vancouver, will kick off the 1970-71 edition of the National Hockey League. I've been in Vancouver since Tuesday, and I have been most impressed with the enthusiasm of the people generally and the great work being done by the officials of the Vancouver Canucks team, right from the president down. And if this enthusiasm continues, then the success of this club, of course, is assured.
One of the most surprising things about the Canucks' first ever game, at least to me, the Vancouver papers the next day described the crowd as near capacity. And I couldn't figure that out. After years of Vancouver whining that they were refused entry when the NHL expanded in 1967, the best the city of Vancouver could do was just nearly fill up the place. How was that even possible? How could even a handful of tickets go unsold? Well, I guess maybe it was just those laid-back left coast folks. Maybe, I don't know. Now, to be fair, the place was rocking, and there were 15,062 paid admissions, according to the Vancouver Sun's hockey writer Hal Sigurdsson. But nonetheless, there were several hundred fans who came to the rink disguised as empty seats, and that just didn't seem right on the first game for the new Vancouver Canucks. It was quite a night, though, even though the Kings did take a 3-1 win in a game that could hardly be described as an artistic masterpiece. And there were quite a few firsts that occurred as well, and we have a few of them for you. The first man introduced on the night was Bob McCusker, who represented the Vancouver Canucks of the 1960s. The biggest, longest, prolonged ovation for Fred Cyclone Taylor, who helped the Vancouver team win the Stanley Cup in 1915. The first boos, well, of course, for Mayor Tom Terrific. They call him Tom Campbell. And the first ceremonial face-off victory, Tom Campbell won the face-off off the Public Works Minister for Vancouver, Art Lang. By the way, in the first real mistake made in this night, they didn't have a speaker representing the National Hockey League to actually make remarks at the opening face-off, and I found that really, really strange. The first official face-off winner of this game, by the way, was the Canucks' Andre Boudria, who won the draw from the Kings' Bob Pulford. The first shot on goal in the game was recorded by the Kings' Eddie Joyelle at 3:17 of the first period, a period which was scoreless. The first save, Canucks goalie George Gardner. The first Canucks shot on goal, Boudria had that, and it was only 15 seconds after Joyal fired his drive at Gardner. The first penalty called in that game was Bobby Pulford of the Kings for delay of game, and that was at 4:26 of the first period. The first fight just a little over a minute later when Orland Kurtenbach took out the Kings' young defenseman Dale Hoganson, and they battled to a draw. The first misconduct in Canucks history was earned by Pat Quinn at 11:28 of that scoreless first period. The first goal scored in the new Vancouver existence in the NHL was by Ross Lonsberry of the LA Kings at 9:26 of the second period.
It goes to Gardner. He cleared it away from Pulford. And now from behind the net, Sly gets it down the ice. And the Kings have to go back after it. Neither team has looked particularly potent in the power play department tonight. Put it more positively, each team has been solid killing off penalties. Now over the line, Lonsberry back to Joyal to Pulford. There's the screen. They score! Lonsberry on Pulford's rebound.
The first Vancouver Canucks goal in their history was scored at 2:14 of the final period, and it was netted by defenseman Barry Wilkins.
So we just have 2 minutes on either side, so it would appear that we have major penalties to Payman and Lonsberry. Yes, that's it, because each team out there with 4 skaters.
Penalty to number 20,
Here's the announcement.
Bob Pulford, for roughing, 2 minutes. Vancouver penalty to number 2, Gary Doak, for roughing, 2 minutes. Los Angeles penalty to number 8, Ross Lonsberry, for fighting, 5 minutes. Vancouver penalty to number 15, Rosaire Payman, for fighting, 5 minutes. The time, 1:41.
So there you have it, 1:41. Now Vancouver at center ice, led by Lundy, and over the LA line. Going in is Boudria. A pass goes to the far side. Turning around,